Right, I've got to go to Manchester to speak at a marketing event. I thought we'll take the camera, we'll make a video. So in this video, we're going to talk about video strategy for 2019. Let's go. Here we are, Manchester. A bit chilly. So it's actually stopped snowing, so I thought I'd grab a little moment outside for a moment. So video strategy for this year, first thing you're going to have to think about is your audience. Now if you already run a business and you're looking to develop into video, to add it into your marketing mix this year, then you might already have an audience. You might already have a client base, a bunch of customers. Video marketing can work locally. It works very well for us locally. But if you're looking at online markets, it's really worth thinking about specific niche audiences. And that is because it's very hard to make a dent in online audiences like on YouTube without figuring out a niche, without figuring out something specific. If you go in general, you won't be able to get any traction, you won't be able to get any movement on that particular market. Next up, you've got to think about your objective. And quite often we talk about funnels when we look at objectives, because you've got to think about where in the buying process your video is going to work. Is it for outreach? Is it for grabbing attention from people? Is it somewhere in the middle of the funnel where you're trying to convert them or convince them or educate them a little bit further once they already know about you? Or is it right at the bottom of the funnel where you're actually trying to make a sale? A lot of people just go straight in at the bottom. They just go in with the sales video. And whilst that's a useful video to have in a mix, if it's the only video you've got, then all your customers and all the people who are ever watching you online are ever going to see is you trying to sell to them. And the idea of using video content is not just to sell, but to develop trust and to make connections and to establish yourself as an authority as well. So that top of funnel stuff needs to be what I call guide and provide. So what you're essentially doing is looking to help people to answer questions that your client base and your customer base already has. Now quite often you'll find that if you look on your FAQ on your website that you've already got the answers there. You've already got the questions that people most commonly ask. So you're looking to develop those into videos, put those out regularly so that you're already starting that conversation. You're taking a first step and you're working off things that you know people want to find out. I think it's also really useful to talk about quality as well. And that's both quality in terms of the content that you're producing and also technical quality as well. So the quality of the content that you're producing should always be high. We've just talked about trying to find the questions that people are asking and answer those questions, but also have a look at what your competitors are doing. And if you're answering very obvious questions, or if you're answering questions that have been done over and over again, try and think of a new twist, try and think of something that's a bit more original, do a bit of research, look into it, find out something that maybe isn't known. So maybe get a little bit of a new statistic or a different take on something and bring something fresh to the video. Otherwise you're just regurgitating the same stuff that somebody else has already done. Technical quality, also important. It's getting more and more important. You can use your mobile phone. You can, if you're going to do that, make sure you've got a microphone or something plugged into it so that you get decent audio. There's plenty of other things you can do to improve the quality of your video, but know that the quality on YouTube is already quite high because people are established there and that's a known video channel. On LinkedIn, the quality isn't, the expectations of quality aren't quite there yet, but that will come. In the next few years, you can expect to see the quality of LinkedIn videos go up and up and up. So if you want to be ahead of the game, it's worth investing a little bit now in some training or a little bit of education or some practice to get your physical skills up. So next up, let's talk about traction. How are you going to get the videos watched? How are you going to get good viewing numbers off them? How are you going to get that engagement? Well, on some channels it's easier than others. Getting traction on YouTube is really difficult because it's a very crowded space and there's a lot of people who've been there for a long time who are already doing what you're doing. Getting traction on LinkedIn, not as difficult at all. LinkedIn's only introduced video in the last 18 months or so, and they are literally giving away views at the moment. And what that means is that you can put video up on LinkedIn and you will get a lot of people watching it. That's happening now. It won't last, it won't continue, because I guarantee that LinkedIn will do the same thing that Facebook did, which is eventually, once they got you on the hook, they're going to say, you need to pay for that now. So you have to make use of it now. Get that value from it now, while it's cheap, while it's free, while it's easy to use. And the other way to get traction is to be consistent. You have to show up regularly. You can't just do a video, pop it up there and hope for the best. You might get some good results off it, but the whole point of this is to stay front of mind. And producing video consistently requires quite a lot of planning, quite a lot of understanding of what you need to do, and quite a lot of thinking behind it. But it is worth it. It's a long-term play and it will yield some results in the long run. Once you've got traction, how are you going to get retention? Well, it's a similar idea. It's around about consistency, but it's also about people. It's about being authentic and real and interesting, and tapping on the things that you've got that make you unique and personal, and the skills that you have that make, and it's very much like a brand of any kind of business. You're looking at characteristics of what you can offer and then using those, making use of those in the video content to make it stand out and to engage and to connect with more people. And one last thing, talking to the camera like this isn't necessarily for everyone. And it's not the only way of using video, and it's not the only way of doing video marketing. There are plenty of other ways you can choose. You can use animations. You can get pretty cheap online programs now to create some of those animations. You can use Animoto, you can use Promo, you can use a range of different tools like that online. There's a train going upstairs. But just experiment and use video in a way that makes sense to you and to your business.